I talked about this with you at the show. Like, people talk a lot about mental disorders in a sense of like, oh, anxiety, depression, which are all important too, or past traumas. But the conversation hasn't really opened up about things like borderline personality disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar 1, bipolar 2, the huge difference between the two. Could you take us back to your diagnosis and like what made you actually go and say, okay, something's a bit different here, like let me go see a therapist? Like what that journey look like?
Well, now that I know what it is, I've been dealing with like manic episodes for as long as I can remember. I would get very irritable. I would experience such beautiful highs, like I'm on top of the world. And then like literally minutes later, I would really question my purpose here on earth. So like that duality was something that I dealt with for, I would say, I think my earliest memory of that is probably like elementary school, just feeling like this hot and cold, you know, like I really always dealt with that. And so what led me to finally getting my diagnosis is that like, I couldn't live with it anymore.
Welcome to the For Your Thoughts podcast, where psychology, pop culture, and self meet. We're back with episode 80. Period. And I had an old episode that I recorded that I've been holding on to because I loved it so much. I'm like, I'm going to wait to post it when I'm consistent with the podcast, but I need to let it fly and let it out. So we actually have a guest today. Our guest, her name is COVL. She is a multidisciplinary artist, and her story is just everything to me because she is someone who has bipolar disorder, and she also is a extremely dope, amazing artist and person from Miami. And I just want you guys to hear more about her and her story, and also just what it's like to be an artist with bipolar disorder, what it's like to feel manic, what it's like to feel low, things about medication. We get all into it, and we also get all into her art. So I'm so excited for you guys to listen to that. But before that, we have a couple of announcements, okay? I am going to be on Tiana's show. It's called The Locals. If you're in the podcast world, you know her from working at WTF Media Studios, and I had so much fun talking to her yesterday about creative paralysis. It was so crazy how life just aligns, because I have no idea who's really watching me. I just put it out there, and I honestly be feeling like, yo, like, when are these numbers going to go up? But I stopped thinking about the numbers, and I'm just putting out what I like and what I wish was out there. And she said that I was one of her dream guests, which was so cool because I am a fan of hers as well. So shout out to you, Tiana, such an amazing person. And I'm just so happy to start meeting more people in the pod world that just get it and like are girls and shit like that. So dope. So that episode will be dropping this week as well. So we have content on content on content. My vlog dropped today, as in Monday. So go check that out as well. And yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to listen to this episode. And be sure to go to www.foryourthoughts.org to either sign up if you're a therapist, or just sign up for updates and things are coming for the official launch. So let's get into this episode with COVL. See you guys next week. I went to your first solo show, Homesick, and I boohoo cried, embarrassing myself.
No.
Like, literally, it brought, I can't cry again, but it brought so many emotions to me. Just the way that you expressed like mental health, like through your art, and also reminded me of my best friend. So it was just a great show. I love to start with my guests, like, tell me like who you were, who you are now, and like who you see yourself becoming, evolving to in the future. Your birthday just happened, so I'm sure you have like, you know, like a whole new outlook on like what you want your next years to be. So I'd love to start with that to get into your journey.
Sure. Yeah, so who I used to be was a very chaotic, creative child. Even up until like my early 20s, I was still that same vivacious, out of box kind of character. And then I feel like I'm still that today. I feel like there's many parts of that I'm still am that today. And I think that's why it works so well with my work. I would say that I'm just a little more refined now. I still am on the chaotic, vibrant, vivacious side, but there is a level to refinement to that. And who I would like to become, and this is the first time that I've heard of this word just because I've never associated myself with this word, but I was on another podcast recently and he called me a visionary.
Yeah.
And I remember he called me that, and I was like taken back by that because I've only associated visionaries with like the greats of this world. I never thought that my name and visionary would be in the same sentence, but it also didn't feel foreign when he called me that. And so I like to believe that that's where I'm headed. I'm headed towards like my most weird potential visionary self, and I feel like I'm getting closer to that each and every day.
And when you hear the word visionary, like what does that look like for you? Like when he called you that, what did you see for yourself with that word?
I just saw myself being someone that is doing things that are not being done right now. When I look at myself in the art space, I am quite the character. I am telling stories in this very cartoony, comic-y, childlike way. And so I think with visionary, I'm always doing something on my own, the way I see it, versus to trying to fit the mold or the recipe of others.
And in one of your interviews, or maybe it was your YouTube channel, you said that you really didn't have a childhood, and you were mentioning that like in your work, it has this like vibrant childlike essence to it. Could you like talk more about your childhood and like how that has like shown up in your artwork?
Sure. Yeah, growing up, to be quite honest, it wasn't, I would say, like the most ideal childhood. I did deal with a lot of discrepancies like growing up, and so that in turn made me have to grow up a lot faster. Before I could remember, I was taking care of myself a lot. I was feeding myself. I was making sure that I was going to bed early. I would walk myself to school. I would walk myself home from school. So I was like growing up very quickly. And so I just never had enough time as a child to imagine myself being a child. Like I had to imagine myself being grown and being responsible and being on high alert wherever I went. And so now that I'm older, I'm taking back all those things that I lost and living them right now. And art has allowed me to kind of like dive into that space a lot. I think from my relationships to how, if you were to sit in my studio right now, you would just see like how kid-like it is. And it's a big playground of like paintings and things all around. Like I tell my team all the time when I'm looking for something that I can never find something because it's just like, you know, it's like a playground. And so, yeah, I feel like I didn't have the best childhood, but I have the opportunity to make up for it now. And I'm very unapologetic with that. And I think that's also what has a lot of people gravitate towards it, because I'm not the only person that had to grow up quickly. There's a lot of adults that yearn for the childhood they never had. And so I think when they look at my work, it allows them an opportunity to tap into that.
You've been like this your entire life, or when did you really like dive into the art world? What was your journey like to get into just being a freelance artist in general?
So funny that you asked that question, because I recently had a talk with my dad and I was just catching him up on everything that I'm going to be doing this year and what I've been doing right now. And he's like, you know what? He's like, you've always been this kind of person.
Oh, shit.
He's like, you know, you've always been the girl that would be like, Dad, I want to show you my 8 count. You were always dancing. You were always singing. You were always acting. You were always dressing a kind of way to school. Like, you've always been this creative person. So in past interviews, I've always thought that my creativity started in my early 20s, when in actuality, I've always been this. I've always been this way. And I think that's why it makes so much sense to me to do this the way that I do it, because this to me is very second nature. So I would say that like it was at the cusp of me just being born and existing that I became like this very creative, out of the box child.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that is who I am still today.
Yeah, yeah. And then so we have Deanna and then we have COVL. Is there a
Mhm.
difference between the two entities, or are they the same? And like, what are those differences?
Ooh, I like this question. I love this question because there's definitely some differences. Um, like, for example, me, Diana, I like to live in warm, neutral tones. Like my bedroom, it's very
Mm.
warm. There's like waffle texture.
That's so I would
Um,
never have guessed that. I would have thought it'd been like hot
exactly.
pink all in your room and like neons and stuff.
Exactly. So that's like one of the differences is that like my space of like rest is very neutral, warm, calm. And then, when I go into my studio, it's what you're looking at now. And I would say like maybe in some personalities too, like at heart, I am a homebody. Like I love being at home.
Mm-hmm.
And Colville side, I'm out there. I'm outside. I'm doing
Outside,
things,
period.
And I think that's a good balance, right? Like whenever I want to be home, I can be home and I'm happy to be home. I don't have FOMO per se. But when I'm outside, I'm outside. And that's my rule
Mm-hmm.
of thumb. Like all my friends know that when I'm outside, she's outside.
Like we're having a good
So
time.
yeah,
Like
we're
get
having a
ready.
good time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like don't tell me no. No does not
Yeah.
exist. I'm
Take the
fine.
shot. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's some differences, but I think those differences are what helps me cohabitate well with my artist side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you are a multidisciplinary artist. For the listeners who are more on the wellness side and don't know what that is, could you tell the listeners what exactly that entails and what that is?
Yeah. So multidisciplinary artist basically is someone who's able to utilize different mediums in their art practice. So I'm not just an illustrator. I can paint, I art direct, I creative direct, I do experiential, I do art installs,
Mm-hmm.
anything under the umbrella of artistry or multidisciplinary artist are all the things that I feel like that I can do as an artist. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that stems from the fact that like I get bored very easily. My attention span is not the greatest, I will
Yeah.
say. And so like again, I think it goes back to that child mind mentality where I'm like constantly just diving into new things because it's exciting. And so now I feel like I have an arsenal of mediums underneath my belt that have allowed me to do many things in my career.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like I'm a multi hyphenate. I've always loved mental health and like the science behind it, but also loved art, loved pop culture. And it's kind of hard for even like to express that to brands. So I'm wondering, how did you like fight against like being pigeonholed? 'Cause I'm sure you've had to come across that or had to like over explain yourself or like kind of like
Mm,
even undermine your talents because people's
mhm.
minds aren't as like broad as yours or they don't have that vision that you have.
Yeah. I would say it's definitely taken a lot of no's on my end in terms of like if I'm presented an opportunity and I feel like it does not mesh well with what I'm trying to do, or in other cases, if they send me the brief and I don't see myself on it, it's a lot easier for me to walk away and say no. And I think
Okay.
that those are those instances that teach people, okay, she said no to this job. Okay, so that means that she's not X, Y, and Z. It means that she's trying to pivot to here. Um, and so I think it's a combination of saying no to things that don't mesh well with me, and then also just having candid conversations with clients as well. There's been
Mm,
instances where they have hired me, but we had to like backtrack and ask them like, do you want me for my artistry or do you want me for my skill set? Because in my
mm,
eyes, those are two different playing fields. A
mm-hmm.
skill set I can do all day. I could even go as far as to emulate people's styles if I wanted to
Yeah.
because my skill
Yeah.
set allows that. But at the end of the day, what makes me me is my creativity, my style, my approach, my artistry. And so if you're hiring me for that, that's what you're going to get. You're going to get my perception of the goal that we're trying to achieve together. If you want me for my skill set, then I am just a tool that you're going to
To help
use
you
to get
create
to
like your
your
vision. Right. Yeah.
exactly.
So you kind of just
So
like
those
candidly say that and break it down for them.
yeah, I
Yeah.
have to just because Brands and just companies in general, I think they operate at a very archaic standpoint when it comes to
Right.
working with
It's
creatives and
whack. And it's just
artists.
like, I'm like, catch up, catch up.
Yeah, it's 2024 and there's a lot of things that like I'm just like, this is unfortunate that these companies are still working this way because it's not like I'm an in-house designer. It's not like I'm your
Hmm.
in-house illustrator. Like you're coming to me outside of your network and outside of your resources to tell me what you need. So this is why it looks a lot differently. And so there's a lot of conversations. There's those opportunities to be like, you know what, this is not for me, and walk away from it. And I
Hmm.
think between those two has allowed me to kind of really really set the tone on who I am and what I
Yeah.
want to do for
Hmm.
projects.
Right. And you just had your first solo exhibit, solo show. I was actually shocked that it was your first. I was like, wow, okay, like this is your first time doing it. I'm like, that's a big deal. And you chose to, it was called Homesick, and you chose to
Mhm,
dive more into your internal world, your past traumas, and your
mhm.
mental health disorders. Is that how you like to identify with it, or people?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
And what made you create Homesick or decide that that was what you wanted for your solo show?
Well, Homesick was an idea that I had many years ago, but I just never creatively felt mature enough to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. It took me some time to finally get to this place where, one, I felt comfortable to share my story this kind of way.
Hmm.
And also just like opening up the dialogue that, okay, being multidisciplinary artist means that like I don't have to just stick to these mediums. I want to be a painter now. I want to be in the contemporary art space. I want to try what that looks like. I think I have a lot to bring to that space of the art space. And so when it finally came time to do it, it was just kind of dedicating and being intentional about the fact that like I want to open up the dialogue on mental health. I want to rewrite what that looks like to myself and hopefully to a lot of other people. Because when you looked at the paintings, you would have never assumed that anything was tied behind it that was negative.
Right.
And so, like, that's the power of art. That's the power of color. That's the power of like conversation and dialogue is like being able to kind of rewrite what is often looked at as
Yeah.
negative or taboo.
Right.
Um,
And
and
sorry to cut you off. I was like,
no, you're good.
and it's not negative. Like, I've
Mm-hmm.
heard people say, okay, I'm suffering with this, I'm suffering, but it's like, no, like you're
Mm-hmm.
living with this. And there's so many,
Yes.
positives that actually do come from different disorders as well. So like that's part of like normalizing the conversation. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
actually not a negative thing. It's like a part of who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to that point, yeah, normalizing that conversation and then just kind of being more vulnerable of who I am as an artist. I think that was very
Yeah.
important for me to do, being that I've always spoken about inner child work and color. I wanted to bring another layer to that. And I felt like Homesick was just an opportunity for me to open up the doors a little wider on that.
Yeah. And I think I talked about this with you at the show. Like people talk a lot about mental disorders in the sense of like, oh, anxiety, depression, which are all important too, or past traumas. But
Mm-hmm.
the conversation hasn't really opened up about things like borderline personality disorder,
Mm-hmm.
schizophrenia, bipolar one,
Mm-hmm.
bipolar two, the huge difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Could you take us back to like your diagnosis and like what made you actually go and say, okay, something's a bit different here. Like, let me go see a therapist. Like, what that journey look like?
Well, now that I know what it is, I've been
Hmm.
dealing with like manic episodes for as long as I can remember. I would get very irritable. I would experience such beautiful highs, like I'm on top of the world. And then, like,
Yeah.
literally minutes later, I would really question my purpose here on earth. So, like, that
Mm.
duality was something that I dealt with for, I would say, I think my earliest memory of that is probably like elementary school, just feeling like
Oh,
this
shit.
hot and cold, like I really always dealt with that. And so what led me to finally getting my diagnosis is that like I couldn't live with it anymore. It was just too much. Like the way of manic and experiencing mania, like almost like monthly on a monthly basis was getting to be a lot on me, on my body. It was getting to be a lot for my relationships around me because when I go into a manic episode, I completely clock out. Like
Yeah. Do you mind like
it's
describing in more detail? You can get as personal as you
mm,
want. Like, and you can even like not even say your example, but like
mm,
paint a picture of what that manic looks like and then what the
Mm-hmm.
depressive looks like for people,
Mm-hmm.
especially for people that look like me and you. Sometimes
Yeah.
people are experiencing it, but we've been viewing mental health disorders as like something totally different than what it actually is in a lot of us. So could you
Yeah.
paint that picture? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually journaled about it today, and
Oh wow.
when I'm experiencing a manic episode, I feel like I'm living in the dark. Like you can't see where anything is at. You can only be in your body, which feels like a prison, and it feels like complete darkness. You're trying to touch around and find your way through. When you're out of that manic episode, the lights are on and you can see
Mm.
everything, and you can, continue on your day. And so when I'm in my manic episodes and I hit my low lows, the lights are completely off and I can't see anything and I can't see anyone. I can only feel my body, and I can only feel the really intense emotions that I have. And some
Yeah.
emotions are real, some emotions are fake. And that's also a part of it too, is trying to identify the real narratives and the false narratives. But once you're in the light again and the lights are on, the narratives are clear. You know what's fake and what's not, or you know what's
Yeah.
fake and what is real. But when you're in the low lows, you don't know, at least for me.
Right.
And that's something that I've been experiencing for as long as I can remember,
Mm-hmm.
even up until this day. Like I transparently just exited my manic episode, I would say like almost 2 weeks ago. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been in it since January. So
Mm-hmm.
like from January until that point, I was just really going through darkness.
Yeah. Um, and so when you were diagnosed, did you decide to take medication? Did you decide to just continue with therapy? Do you now know how to recognize it? And then do you have like holistic ways that you manage it? What does it look like for you now?
Yeah, so when I got diagnosed, I was seeing a therapist, and then this therapist was like, okay, our sessions were getting to be a very alarming for her, just because I was describing to her what I was going through, my history with what I've been going through, and what I've done in the past, without getting too deep into that. But she eventually recommended me to a psychiatrist. I had my evaluation. And then from that point on, I decided to start taking medication. Mind you, prior to that, I've always had like this negative view of
Yeah.
medication just because
Yeah.
I've seen what it's done to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talked to my psychiatrist, I wanted to make it apparent that like I don't want to lose my sense of creativity.
Or
I don't
sense
want
of
to lose
self.
my
Yeah.
sense of
Yeah.
self. I don't want to lose my lust for life. Like I want to be able to navigate my life with tools to better
Right.
navigate it. So I started taking gabapentin. I actually take two. I just can't remember the other name, but one is a mood stabilizer, and then gabapentin is more for like my anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I take both of those daily. And I have had such a positive experience from it. It's almost as if someone took all the clutter out of my brain and like pushed it to the
Yeah.
side, and like I almost feel like my third eye is now open because like all
Yeah.
the stuff is out of my way. But that's how it feels like when I'm on meds. When I'm
Mm-hmm.
not on meds, it feels like there's a major clutter in my brain, and I
Right.
don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like with medication, it definitely takes time with your doctor to figure out the right dosage, the right type. And I think that people shouldn't quit when if they have like a bad experience at first. I actually just got off of Wellbutrin. I had been taking it for the past
Okay.
like 6 years, literally, like since for a long time. But I just felt like in a better space, and I feel good. It's been since January. Well, no, since December. So I feel great.
Okay.
And if I ever need to go back, I definitely will. So just to say that, it's okay to try medication and to
Mm-hmm.
see like what works for you. And I'm glad that it's working for you, especially
Yeah.
as an artist. That was my thing. I'm like, I have a podcast, I host things. It's like I need my personality. And I was just like so terrified of some medication like stripping away my personality, but
Same.
it didn't do that. And then once I started to feel like maybe it was doing that, you can tweak it and change certain things for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Did
agree.
you find it? So actually I was researching and it's so crazy. I'm like, thank you so much for sharing that because like a part of like my mission and journey is to like showcase mental health through the arts, and also show that some of like the coolest, dopest people, like, you know, are living with these disorders. And it was Selena Gomez, Halsey,
Mm-hmm.
of course we know Kanye, are some people who are openly have talked about their bipolar. And Selena mentioned how it was actually freeing for her when she dropped her documentary about it. And I wonder, was it freeing for you to drop Homesick and like really just say, hey, this is me, this is what I have, it's like, and it's a part of me? Like, how was it? Was it a freeing experience? Yeah.
Oh, 1000%. Like
Yeah.
there's such a weight that I feel like is off my shoulders now. Not saying that like I carried this, but there's just a thing for me that I would just always wanted to be seen out
Yeah.
loud. Like I rather just like leave it all on the table than like make up this idea of someone that I'm not. And so I'm just really proud of that. Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
good. I feel so proud of myself for doing that. And now it's where I'm really beginning to do the work. Like I thought
Yeah.
when I first started this show and like doing all the paintings, I was like, oh, this is part of the process. Like I'm doing the work. Like da da da. The show wrapped, and I was like, oh no, the work is starting now.
Yeah.
And thankfully I had my, you know, my therapist and my psychiatrist, because it did bring up a lot of things that I compartmentalized for so long.
Mm-hmm. Were there a lot of people coming up to you during the show to like talk about their own experiences and things like that?
Yeah, and that's one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite parts of the entire experience is how every conversation I had was intentional. Every conversation I had was heartfelt and real. And not only did people get to walk away to learn more about me, but I got to walk away learning so much more about the community that supports me.
Yeah, yeah. I do want to, I was supposed to do this before, but actually say like what bipolar 2 disorder is. I'm gonna like actually the whole definition. So
Yeah.
bipolar 2 disorder is diagnosed when a person experiences a pattern of depressive episodes and hypomanic episodes, but not full-blown manic episodes found in bipolar 1 disorder. However, some bipolar 2 patients may have longer lasting and more severe bouts of depression. So just want to put that out there for
Yeah.
anyone who doesn't know what the two are. The difference between the two. How was your family and friends supportive of you throughout the process as well?
Of the show.
Of the show, of like just you opening up about it and the
Mhm.
diagnosis and everything, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so my
how did
parents
they
were
show up for you in a way that resonated with you?
for me, I've always just wanted the support of my parents. Like I just
Okay.
wanted them to be able to like actualize who their daughter has become.
Mm-hmm.
I had posted something that like somebody needs to write a dissertation on how to explain to your parents what you do in Spanish,
No, for
because
real. Yeah,
I was, you
I'm
know,
Kenyan, and my dad still, he came to one of my live shows and he finally was like, "Oh, I kind of get it,
yes.
but I still don't get
Yeah,
it."
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like trying to explain to my parents what I do and have them like actually grasp it and understand like has been a struggle. But when I did the show in Miami, my mom came and she basically walked away with a newfound appreciation for me. She got to see how much the community loves me. She got to see how well I'm
Mm,
supported with my people. And then she also got to understand how some of the things in my upbringing have affected me.
mm-hmm.
Um, she's never had that perspective. She's always had the loving perspective of a mother and trying to get me through it, but she didn't see to the extent of how much it affected me. So we bonded so much on that trip because there was a new side that she felt like she got to see of me. And in turn, she was able to go back to my dad and kind of like marvel of like how beautiful the show was, how she loves my friends and the people that surround me. She loves like the amount of time it took to do things. So like now my parents are starting to understand, okay, like this is what my daughter's doing and she's
Yeah.
thriving in it, which is such a great deal to me because, you know, again, having your parents actually grasp of what you
Yeah,
do.
that's like healing. Literally, when my dad came to my live show, it was, the topic was self-worth outside of work. And it was like, who are you outside of what you do? And of course, my dad being like, he's a pharmacist, he's an immigrant, like he literally came here for one thing and one thing only. And like the
Mm,
only person in this world that I would want to impress is him. And And as someone who did choose a different route, it felt like I never really impressed him in a sense. And he literally stood up at the end and was like, well, first of all, I love you. And literally the whole room just bust out crying. It's like, literally it was a healing moment within itself.
Yes.
So it's like my own inner child was healed in that moment. So I'm sure like you felt the same way with your mom coming to the show. It's like a part of you was just like hugged and healed too.
Yeah. I felt so much love, and I'm just so happy I got to experience that for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so dope. So you are Puerto Rican, correct? Yes. And I saw that you created a basketball court for Puerto Rican Independence Day. Was that what it was for? Yes.
So
So
for Orchard Beach, specifically that area is known where basically like the hub of Puerto Ricans thrive. There's a whole history behind it. And so when I did this collaboration with Nike, the purpose was to give something back to that community, to give something back to the Puerto Ricans and the history of Orchard Beach. And that was such a crazy project because this happened, I think, like right after Q1. And Q1 for a lot of us creatives is like very slow. And I just remember like being in this like very spiritual practice at that time. And my guides kept telling me to like chill, rest, because what's to come, it's going to take a lot of emotional, mental, spiritual like strength for you to muster through it. And then I got tapped with doing the basketball for PR. The reason why that's such a big deal is because I'm someone that belongs in the middle. I did not grow up on the island. I did live there, but I wasn't born and raised there. And then I also don't have like the New York experience here. Like I'm not a Puerto Rican that was born in New York. Like, so I feel like I was navigating the middle of both experiences. And so when I got tapped, I felt like I had a lot of responsibility because I want to represent my people. I want to represent the history. I want to represent the resilience. And even though I wasn't born in either space, I still very am that person. And I still carry that blood and that acknowledgement of the history. And so I traveled to PR and I stayed there with my best friend, I think for like almost a week. And all we did was like eat, talk to the people, get reacquainted with the land, take time to like just sit there and be, breathe the air, which was like to me so spiritual. And even at the end of it, before we left, we ended the trip by partaking in a protest. Because at the time, teachers were protesting that they're not given enough money to survive. They can't retire. There's a lot of discrepancies in the educational system in PR that due to the government has been neglected. And so like being able to end my trip on that, I had a lot of things to sit with and a lot to unpack with when I came back, because then I took all that and poured it right back into the basketball court that we have today. And so that experience was just, I don't think I've unpacked it still, but I am just so honored that I've been able to play that little role in the midst of all that.
Can you walk me through like that process of like doing the research, getting out there, getting in the field, and like how does like your mind work to then ideate to create something like that? Like where, like what does that look like?
That's a good question. I remember when I came back after doing research and traveling, there was like maybe like 2 to 3 days where I did nothing. I just like sat with it. Like I even limited my conversations. Like when with my boyfriend was like, oh, how did it go? How did it feel? I was like, let me get through this project and then I will talk to you about it. And I think what eventually happened was there's no way for me to literally put everything in to a court of what I just experienced and saw. But I do remember seeing a clash of like color and waves and fluidity. And I saw this big core as a blank canvas. And I just remember taking like sketches of a basketball court and then I would just like doodle.
Yeah.
with no intent of no objective to like achieve something. I just wanted to feel the flow of the court. Sounds really cheesy when I say it out loud, but
No, it
like the
makes sense.
fluidity. Yeah, you know,
And
like when
also
I
while
think
you're
about
still
people,
processing your experience, you're kind of
yeah,
processing it and putting it out on this court. Yeah.
yes. So it was like a meditative experience. I think like
Right.
I don't remember too much of it because I just remember like going through pages and pages and pages. But then when deadline was starting to approach, I took all of that and somehow made it into what we have today. And I think that's because a lot of my work comes from the subconscious. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand where it's coming from at the moment. But then
Mm-hmm.
later on, when I look at it now and I see like the aerial view of the basketball court, I'm like, oh,
Like, oh shit, like
this,
that's what like
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's so
There's a lot of
interesting. How the
things.
mind works is crazy. That's so
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And that's what I've learned, that a lot of my work stems from my subconscious. So I
I
don't
love
understand why
that.
I'm doing it in the moment. But after it's said and done, I'm like, I'm too
Like
good with
you're
it.
like, you're like I'm a genius. For real. I'm
Yeah.
low key. It's like I'm actually a genius for real in this shit. You mentioned in a YouTube video like color psychology. And I've
hmm
always wanted to like grab a color psychology book, but just
hmm
never done it. I haven't like got there yet. What
Yeah.
is that? Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, so I remember when I first started like researching color psychology, some people were like, oh, it's not really a thing. And I'm like, okay. But then when you think about it, it's kind of everywhere around us, like even down to the hoodie that you're wearing. Like, why did you gravitate towards that hoodie? Or why do people paint their walls a certain color? Like, color psychology is tethered to how you feel. And so for example, like I have red on my right side and then I have like this magenta on my left side because I want to feel like the sense of like energy, but also like passion. And I want to feel like a
Mm-hmm.
sense of like a calm enough for me to get my work done. Like I don't want to fill
Mm,
my space with red too much because then I will have like this really innate sense of urgency to get it done right now.
I
That's not how I
see.
like to work. You know, like I like to
Yeah.
work with a little ease, a little warmth, a little love. And so yeah, color psychology I play a lot with. I think that's why a lot of my work is more towards like the warmer end tones, you know, like the poppy reds, oranges, pinks, just because I want people to feel warm. I want people to
Yeah.
feel safe. I want them to be able to embrace and immerse themselves into the body of work. This year, I am experimenting with a lot more like cooler tones, like blues and purples. But that's why psychology to me is such a big deal because it's really everything around us and how we navigate it. Like
Yeah.
I think the most prime example going back to color red is that like you have a lot of fast food companies that use the
Yeah,
color red.
McDonald's. I remember learning about that in advertising. Yeah. And
Because
that's how
it's
we
like,
pull up
oh,
there
you
real quick.
hungry? Yeah, you hungry? Eat it now. You can have it right now. It's really fast. And so, like, people may not really believe it, but I think it dictates a lot of why we do certain things and why we
Very
wear and why we
true.
dwell.
Yeah, no, definitely. Um, yeah, and even like when I walked into, I had no idea I was gonna like. I wasn't even in like a crying mood when I walked into your exhibit. Like I was chilling. So, but I did feel that like sense of safety, and it's just not even like me be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, like just to even express that. So like it definitely created that space for me too. So I can attest to that.
Oh,
And really, art is supposed to evoke
yes.
emotion, whether it's good, bad, negative. It's supposed to help you like reflect and things like that. So
Right.
you're definitely doing what's needed to be done for sure. How has your culture impacted like your art at all? Outside of that one project, how has it impacted the way that you create, even being a child of immigrants? How has that impacted it?
I think I resort a lot back to the history of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think being Puerto Rican, there's a lot of pride to it. You know, you will never meet a Puerto Rican that is not proud to say that they're Puerto
Yeah,
Rican.
no, literally. I'm from Houston, Texas, but moving here, I'm like Puerto Ricans proud. Period. When it's time for that parade, just watch out.
It's a wrap. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think that's part of it. Like it's being very proud of like where I've come from, proud of my family. And then also like on a historical community sense, like the immense amount of resilience that Puerto Ricans have pushed through time and time again throughout history. I think it's the protection of the land. I think it's the love for the land. I think it's the music. Like I grew up listening to salsa like 24/7. Like
Yeah.
that was a soundtrack to my childhood that I can remember. And so I think it just lives in that energy. It lives in the
Mhm.
vibrancy. It lives in the resilience and the pride, in the fight and strength that Puerto
Mhm.
Ricans have. And I think that that's always been something that has been embedded into my work and even my work ethic.
Yeah.
You can ask many of my clients. I have repeating clients because they like me and Ashley, my manager, we just don't play around. Like we really take what we do very seriously. And so I think that that's just always intertwined with what I do.
Mhm.
If I'm going to be a representation, I need to be a very good representation of my people.
Mhm.
Because not many of us get to be in those rooms, you know?
Yeah, and the vibrancy for sure, like through your work, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And even just
Yeah.
taking pride in being like, I am an artist. This is who I am, and this is what I do. Like you definitely wear that very, very boldly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing it any kind of other way.
Yeah. So, did you ever have a like 9 to 5, and then also like, did you ever have like a starving artist phase? Like, where was that? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, that brings me to the past interview that I did. He had asked me, like, what makes me stand out compared to anybody else. And I said that I can out hustle anybody.
Period.
And, and I really meant that because before before this part of my life, I was paying my rent with quarters and pennies. Like, I'm not even exaggerating.
Mhm.
Like, I had 2 jobs, I had 2 internships, and I was living in a 300 square foot studio in Miami. And I would just be barely making my rent. And sometimes I had to decide, do I want McDonald's or do I want to pay my rent? And I endured a lot of that. Matter of fact, like when I was in that pocket of my life, that wasn't foreign to me because even growing up, like my parents did not, we do not come from wealth. We come from hustle, we come
Mm.
from grit. And anything that my parents ever gave me is because they really like went hard on making sure that like we had stuff for school or I had clothes or whatever the case may be. And that hustle carried on with me even in my early 20s, like I said, like paying my rent with coins.
Yeah.
Um and I miss that though. Like there's a part of that hustle and that like I
Yeah,
got
like
to
you
make it
got to, or
happen.
else you're not gonna eat, literally.
Exactly. And that's why I mean by like I'll hustle that like the reason why I'm in this space right now is because I solely got myself here. I worked many jobs. I did overnight jobs. I worked at Walmart where I stocked overnight. I was saving my money. Like I am no stranger to that. And
Mhm.
if I had to do it again, and I still do it to this day, like working for yourself is like the ultimate hustle.
Right.
And no one's telling you what you can and cannot do. So like that
It's
has
easy
really
to get like
prepared me.
complacent and lazy. Like you have to go out there
Yeah.
and get it for real.
Yeah. And so I really feel that. I feel like I've had every phase of the starving artist. I still consider myself that to a degree just because I know that starving artist has like this negative perception about it. But I'm talking about starving in the sense of like, I really want it. Like I'm
Yeah.
hungry. Like I
Yeah.
really want to be this artist that I envision myself to be.
Mhm.
And I think that, hustling since I can remember has really set me up to who I am today. And that's why like I'm no stranger to it. And that's why I genuinely feel like if it came down to it, I can do it. I can now hustle.
Mhm. Mhm. And like what is like your ultimate dream of your for yourself? Like what does that look like?
I like down the road, like I just want to like have a little artist residency in Puerto Rico.
Oh, love.
where I live like on farm. I'm close to the beach. Artists come in and out. I have my little family. Like that's what I see myself. Like that's what I'm working towards.
Teaching and
I think
pouring back in.
yes. And I feel like in the art space, especially when you look at places like PR, the first thing that gets eliminated from any school is art
Mm-hmm.
and music. And I
Mm-hmm.
think those are the two fundamental things that children need to heal,
People
especially when they're
need.
going,
Yeah.
yeah, people
'Cause-
need art to heal in any
yeah.
kind of capacity. And when you take that away, you're setting up a system for kids to fail. And
Yeah.
I feel like down the line that's what I really want to work towards, is just giving back and also creating my legacy and being able to rewrite this history of mine.
Right. And how has, I know for me, like my depression has and my ADD has gotten in the way of me hustling, of me having output, of it. Had me scared to even do interviews like this sometimes. So
Mm-hmm.
how has your mental health affected your hustle and output, and what advice do you have to other creatives who might be dealing with different mental health disorders that might, you're like, I can't wake up today actually because I feel like shit, but I
Mm-hmm.
want to create. I have all these ideas. Yeah, what advice do you have to them, or what have you experienced?
I think for me, what has helped me up to this point is like this is my reality. It's not going to always be a smooth sail. It's going to be peaks and valleys. It's never going to look as beautiful as I want it to be. However, how I navigate it is what's going to determine the results from these moments. And so, if you do not feel like waking up and you just want to be in bed all day, just be in bed all day.
Yeah.
There comes a moment where it's like, okay, like this is where grace needs to be extended. People talk about grace all the time. This is where it needs to be poured into.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking to someone that wants to be doing something all the time. Like
Yeah.
I get instant gratification by doing things versus to like seeing the result. And when I can't do stuff, I understand that like this is my season of giving myself grace
Right.
and knowing that this is not forever. Like these are temporary phases that I
Yeah.
go throughout the year.
And
Let
kind
me
of like how you
just
said
rest
earlier,
up.
you said your guides kind of told you like this is a moment to just rest up because
Yeah.
something's coming. Like you have to like
Yeah.
sit with yourself to recognize those moments. It's not always
Mm-hmm.
like go season.
Yeah. Yeah, people with mental health disorders, we have to navigate it a lot more nicely. And we need people in our corner to navigate it nicely with us. And I think that's part of knowing your season of when to like rest, reach out to your people to make sure that they see you and they have you. And then when it's time to go, you're ready to go. I
Right.
think just being able to like be in your season and transition from that season to the next, that is the reality with people with our kind of disorders, that we just need to
Definitely.
know that we're not going at the same pace as everybody else
Yeah, and it's
is.
okay. Yeah. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
even for some reason, I think that there's like an intersection between mental disorders and creativity and the arts. Like some of the best artists that I know
Yeah.
are living with some type of mental disorder. And it's like, this shit is normal. Like, let's just, it
Yeah,
really is
it
like,
is.
and some people are in denial, whatever, but like, it really is. And it's more beautiful than anything,
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
truly. Um, so for me, I know like my morning routine, or when I feel like something's coming on that might, be bringing me back into a state, I'm sure like stay on a routine. So I wake up, make some tea, wash my face, all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
journal, and I meditate using the Calm app. And then I read like 10 pages and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. What does
Yeah.
your daily routine look like? And then what does your routine look like when you're like, oh shit, like something's about to, like, I feel odd, like something's about to come on?
Yeah, so for that, like I'm still trying to identify like what's my safety plan when I feel my manic episodes are starting to rev up. A lot of times when I hit a manic episode, it's too late. Like it just comes out of nowhere. Like it's like
Okay.
so I'm still trying to identify the kicker for that and then how to maintain a more sustainable living day to day situation. However, I do have my people. Like when I start to feel it, I'm already telling my boyfriend, I'm already telling my manager, like, hey, like we're about to be in the thick of it. So at least
Mm-hmm.
having people be aware of it has helped me too. But when I'm not in those moments, like my day to day, or at least my morning practice is almost the same. Like I'm getting up. I try not to be on my phone.
Yeah, me
Like
too. I've been
that.
trying. I have to literally lock my.
Like
I have an app that locks me out of it.
what app do you
It's
use?
called Opal, and it will
Oh, okay.
lock you
Send
out
that
of
to
everything.
me.
I'll send it to you. It'll lock you out of everything for however long, and then it'll like,
Okay.
yeah, you can't break it.
You can't.
No,
Okay.
you literally
I
can't.
need
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a part of it too, right? Like mental health is better when you have a better relationship with technology and social media. Like I think we can all attest that like social media does play some factors into the mental health
hmm
world. Um, so yeah, I try to stay off of it. I either do my coffee or drink my tea. Try to have a moment with my boyfriend if he's not gone already, and then I'll go into like my journaling, meditation, and if I feel fancy, I might like read my cards or something. But I try to keep my mornings as light as possible because
hmm
like that's my time that I have
hmm
before 10 o'clock rolls around, and then clients are like, okay, following up. So
Yeah.
I feel like my morning routine is simple, but it's effective.
Yeah, and I've seen you like working out a lot too on socials lately. Like, how is that? And
Yes.
it's so cliche, but working out really does like
No, it
help
does.
a lot. It really
Yeah.
does. Like the
No,
the
big
fitness
time.
gurus weren't lying. They weren't
No,
lying.
no. Movement is an integral part of my day to day too. I'm at least in the gym like 2 to 3 times a week, but I'm trying to move my body at least 5 times a week. People say, move to get out of your mind and back into your body. Like
Yeah.
that's what working out is for me. Like the moment I start to move and like lift and be with my trainer and be in the gym, my mind has no choice but to focus on the present
Yeah.
versus to being so like forward thinking. And also just feeling stronger. Like if my body feels stronger, I feel like I can carry the weight of my mind better in some
Mhm.
kind of way.
Mhm.
But yeah, movement is underrated. I encourage people to move more, even if it's going outside and walking 10 minutes, or whatever the case may be. Like going outside and moving your body is actually way more beneficial than people assume it to be.
No, definitely getting some sun, some fresh air
Mm-hmm.
too, and just literally moving your body. Especially now that we're
Yeah.
like all remote and stuff a lot. We're like in the house so much more post COVID. It's like we need to
Yeah.
get out there. And a lot of people are like definitely feeling more depressed or talking about it more, but it's like, yeah, because we're
Mhm.
all literally been in the house way more than
Yeah.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have your dog. You always posting your dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like was trying to get a dog last year. I fostered
Mm-hmm.
one for a second, but someone adopted him before I could, simply before my
Mm-hmm.
mental health. Like that's like what I wanted it for. How has your like puppy, your dog, like helped with that? Like what is that? Yeah.
It's so crazy how he knows. Like to be transparent, I was like bawling the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
he like was in the living room and I was in my bedroom, and he heard me and he like came straight to me and like leaned his body against me, because for me to help me dissipate like my anxiety, I like pressure. So like sometimes my boyfriend will hug me.
Mm.
Um, but what I've noticed about my dog is that like when I'm in distress or if I'm feeling anxious or I'm crying, he'll lay his whole entire body weight on me. And he'll just like wait until like it dies down a bit. But like
That is so
he
sweet.
he gets it. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's
He's
like a
never been
body, like
trained.
a physiological thing. It feels
Yeah.
like they just know.
He just knows, and like he's never been trained or anything, but like the moment something like that happens, he's like on me and like by my
Yeah,
side, and he won't leave until like I feel better, which is
right.
so strange. But yeah, I feel like that dog was made for me. This was wild.
Oh, what's his name?
Bori,
Bori.
Bori. Yeah,
Oh,
it's short for Boricua because he's
oh,
from
cute. Yeah,
PR.
yeah. That's actually hilarious.
So very on brand.
That is hilarious. And you've mentioned your boyfriend and relationship a lot. You can get into it however much you want to, but
Hmm.
I know that for me when dating, like actually in what I'm in now, it's the first person I've ever really just expressed like, oh, I'm feeling this way, and like we like actually talk through it. Was he aware of aware of your feelings before, or was it something that you had to like talk to him about like while you guys were dating? Like how did that look like putting that like on him in a sense. Yeah.
Well, we've been together now for 3 years. We met in the pandemic. So like he's been able to see kind of like the progression of my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And the more and more comfortable I've gotten with him, the more I have shown him those sides of me.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been around when I got my diagnosis. Um, I think him and I can both agree it makes sense. He's like, yeah, it makes sense. Um, and so now, like, even he's still learning how to navigate it, but I almost feel like he has this nature in him that he's able to handle things like
Right.
that. He was raised by women, which I think has some things to do with it. Like he's able to see me. Um, he's been an anchor for me. I'm such a big character, and then when you meet him, he's like the opposite. He's quiet, he's
Mm-hmm.
humble, he's
Mm-hmm.
rooted. And so like I think the universe was looking out when him and I met, because the universe was like, you're going to need someone like that. And
Yes.
so I feel like he understands. He's still trying to better navigate it. But it's also something that I need to participate in terms of like, this is how you can help me more. So we've had conversations. When I'm in my manic, he taps me and just be like, hey, I'm here if you need something, you're not alone. So yeah, I feel like I really got lucky with someone like him, because it
Right.
almost feels natural navigating these
Mm-hmm.
moments with him.
Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for others when dating, when it comes to just kind of expressing themselves and being more open? I think it helps your partner and it helps you so much just to be more open about it. Yeah.
I mean, I think it goes back to like the dialogue and like having these conversations, kind of being able to take something that's often viewed as not the best, as something that like this is normal, and a lot of people undergo this and deal with this. I think having some kind of level of transparency is important, because you don't want to end up being in a relationship where you're not supported.
Right.
Being someone with a mental disorder is not a flaw.
Not at
It's
all.
not a problem. It's just the way you were built and how you were wired. And so I think in the dating scene, it must be difficult to have that kind of conversation, but I think it's going to be beneficial in the end if you're just transparent with that person.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you so much. You were literally like
Yeah,
your artwork a masterpiece. Like
thank you.
everything like just came together to create something beautiful in your work and in who you are. Like your energy is beautiful. Thank you for being
Wow.
transparent and open. I really, really appreciate you. Like seriously, you don't understand.
Oh.
Um, so I always end the show with like what has been bringing you peace of mind. It could literally be a random TV show. It could be anything, but what has you yeah, it could be like something so stupid, but what has been bringing you peace of mind lately?
So two things I would say is that, given with the way that the world is right now, what's been giving a peace of mind is that like I still get to wake up every day and see the sun. That's been giving me a peace of mind. And then on the other side, something that's been giving me peace of mind is Love Is Blind, because
Oh my
what?
god, literally obsessed. Me too. Ah.
The mess. I'm here for the mess. I'm here for it all. I'm here for it all. Like, sign me up.
Love is Blind, literally it's that is a good ass show. I have no other words. Like that is a good show. And honestly, I've been thinking about like the mental health behind the show too. So I'm like, everyone is
Mm-hmm.
not okay. Like, and I've been
Right.
on TikTok, like these deep dives of how like just like the taping for it, how like they don't eat for a while. They kind of are drinking all
Wow.
the time, and like they're kind of low key out of it, and like it puts them in this vulnerable state for like what we're
Okay.
watching, which is kind
Mm-hmm.
of gives me the ick, but also it's just like
Yeah.
such a good show. It's like
Wow. I didn't know the behind the scenes.
oh
I
yeah,
didn't
it's
know
like they
that.
have like lawsuits against them because of the way that they like treat them in a sense, and also like they don't do the proper psych evaluations for certain people. And it's like you're in
Wow.
this house, you don't have your phone, all you have is alcohol, you're eating 3 times a day, but like not for real. And
Yeah.
you're also trying to find the love of your life. So you're super vulnerable. Like that's really like a raw state to be in, you know? And
Yeah.
that's like kind of what we see, which is crazy.
Wow. I did not know that, but now I understand why we get these results that we do.
And then, but also it's like why we're so like attached and related to it, because it's like it's a lot that's within us that's like we're
Yep.
like related to. So it's a good
Yeah.
show. Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. They done something with that one. But yeah.
But yes, thank you so much. And please tell the people where they can find you, what's coming up next. If you want to leave us with anything, please do.
Where you can find me is on Instagram. It's COVL. You can find me on my portfolio or my website that has my portfolio, which is www.covl.co. And then anywhere else on the internet, you'll probably find me.
For sure. And I love your YouTube. I was diving in last week. I'm like, this is cool. It was this
Thank
one thing, sorry,
you.
that you said at the end. Well, it was like when you were about to do the show and you were like, are we really doing this? Like, is this really happening? Am I really doing it? And then you did it. And I think that like that inspired me so much, even with like I like for this year, I'm going like a higher caliber when it comes to the people that I have on the show. You're like one of the first. So it's like,
Wow.
and I don't know why I was so nervous about it, but it's like, just do it. Like you're never going to feel 100% ready. You're never going to feel like have the perfect amount of questions or whatever, but the more you do it, the easier that it will be. And like, that's a part of the whole process. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, like, let's just do this shit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of you. And like, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I think the heaviest thing that we're going to ever have to carry when it comes to doing a big body of work is just doing it. So you're doing it. And I can't wait to see how the rest of this pans out for you. I think we're just living testaments that like, if you do it, the rest is just bound to happen.
Definitely. Yay. Thanks so much. This made my day. What's going to be a great day.
Oh, you made mine.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God. Have a good day. Have a good week and a good trip. Oh my God. Have fun. Relax. Have a good time.
I will. I appreciate your time, Penny. It was nice chatting with you.
Thank you. Bye.